Hello and welcome to the Libri Labra Book Club. Today we are discussing May's book, which is the fifth season by Jemisin, N.K. Jemisin, and it is the first book in a trilogy. And this was picked by Tom. But before we get into more about the book, I am joined today by Book Club VIP member Tom and also my husband, John, aka BookTube Hubby. And if you ever want to join us on camera in our live discussions, you can do that by becoming a Book Club VIP member at patreon.com/Libri Labra. And there's a few different perks like priority responses on YouTube comments and a custom bookmark, and you also get to be in a rotation where you help us decide what books we are reading each month, in addition to being part of an exclusive chat where we talk about the media that we're consuming. So again, this is May's book and we're going to be talking about it now. We're going to talk a little bit about initial thoughts before jumping into spoilers. So if you haven't read it, go read it, come back. This video will live on. But Tom, tell us a little bit about what made you nominate this now.
Being a long time Green Lantern fan, I found that she had written Far Sector, which is about a new Green Lantern character that she had created. And I thought it was absolutely great. And then I came across her short story, Emergency Skin, which apparently is on Kindle. And I read that and I said, this is amazing. Says I want to, try something longer form for her. So,
I think she also actually I don't know. I think has another trilogy, like the Inheritance trilogy. Is that related to this in any way?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's a shared world or not.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, initial thoughts.
I went into it blind, so I know what to expect. I'm happy about it. It's fine.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
I think I had some expectations because, like I said, I love the other two, but those are obviously shorter. Not that there's anything wrong with shorter form books, but like again with any first novel, it's like, okay, how does the world work, and that sort of a thing. A lot of world building. And I think she did a good job, and just said, all right, I'll continue with this and see where this goes.
So I agree that there is a ton of world building in this. I struggled with it a little bit, but definitely more of a me problem than anything having to do with the book. The shift in perspectives, the third person, second person thing was a little.
I thought of you when I was reading this. I was like, oh no.
Was a little disorienting for me. So I kind of struggled with it. But did you already start the second one?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I want to avoid spoilers. Oh, right, yeah, I say something in book 2. Plus, I got so much other stuff to read. Yeah, that's on the back burner.
But yeah, so it was a struggle for me, not just because of the different perspectives, but also the detached second. I mean, a weird read. It felt like it was a little uncomfortable to read. And I'm not sure I fully grasped the decision, like why she did it that way. But we can talk about that. So we can hop into spoilers. But because I feel like I have the weakest grasp on the story, I'm going to let you and John and I will be learning and following along and asking lots of questions probably. So where would you like to start, Tom?
Oh, it's hard to say because we're led to believe we are given 3 main characters throughout this book. Aeson, Demaya, and Cyanite.
Cyanite. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But surprise, they aren't. They're all the same person.
They're all the same person?
I thought you lied to me earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, they are. No, they're all the same person.
Okay, they're all just different phases of her life?
Of her life,
yes
exactly.
Yes.
And I thought what a great way to write a story.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like now, and as I'm reading, it's like, well, what happened in between? You know, like how did we go from, like, for example, when she was cyanide, you know, how did she lose that life? And of course, we find out later in the book. So,
It was funny because like I was struggling. I was like, there's a lot of characters in this. I'm not sure I'm understanding what's happening. So I knew it was a risk, but I was like, I'm gonna Google the character list. And
oh
then
no,
of course it told me that like there were
you
multiple
more than you wanted
characters.
to know. Yeah.
There were multiple characters that, you know, have more than one name. But I had
Yes.
glanced at it so briefly that when I started talking to John about it, I was like, oh, I think Demaya and Ison were the same person, and you said no. And you were like, no, it's Cyanite and Demaya are the same person.
Well,
So
they're all the same person.
They're all the same.
So I was like, wait, was John just trying to trick me? Like, I don't. So
You can't be asking me questions when you're not done, man.
I know,
Spoilers.
I know, but it sounds like you
Spoilers.
didn't even know that all three were the same person.
Not really.
So,
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
well, if you trace some of the linkages, I mean, there's Benoff, aka Tunky, who was with her in the first as Demaya. Now she apparently has been keeping tabs on her from what she says.
For like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, and now as Asun, you know, she comes back. And about that, did anybody pick up that Tunky was transsexual?
Yeah.
Oh no.
She mentions it like one line.
No, there's
Like where-
there's a few.
Oh,
There's very few.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
okay.
I think I do remember something like when she met her as Tonki, and then she was like, hold on a second. And then they kind of briefly just talked about how her family disowned her or whatever. And I think it was sort of kind of like sprinkled in there or alluding to it there.
So at one point when she's when Tonki decides to change clothes in front of everybody, and that said anything, they were like, "Oh, I saw a penis in there somewhere." But
yeah, I was like, "Did I see that?" Yeah,
right. It was like a brief, like a glance or a mention of unmentionables. But and then later on, they talk about her running out of some sort of serum that she was using, and then growing stubble every day and having to shave and being irritable about it. Yeah.
Right. Oh, the implication being that that's hormones, but yes.
Right.
That's interesting.
But she didn't really develop that in the first book, that theme. You know, I don't think it made any difference to the story, at least in this book. You know, it was like, oh, this is the way the world is. Okay, let me move on.
Right.
So, and was the Guardian's name, was it Sloth? The one that, yeah. In the beginning, the
one that hurt her hand.
Yeah. I was like,
Shafa.
Shafa. That's what it was. Shafa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the way he interacts with us. Oh no, this is not going to end well.
We don't like Guardians.
No, we don't.
So, I mean, there were so many terms for like the different things or people in positions and like locales.
Oh, you're talking like so the way the world was built with the idea of a calm being a place where people actually have built a civilization.
Well, yeah, I know. Like I know that
still is a person that
doesn't have any
ability.
Powers, right?
Right. So it's they do have a lot of terminology.
Yeah, and
so you had a hard time.
Like, I was gonna say, it seemed like names were constructive. This is your first name, then you had your what you did within that community and what the community was. So.
Well, and then you had derogatory terms in there too.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
clearly Jemisin is drawing the line between what we know as slavery and what their version of slavery is. So.
Do you know if the trilogy continues following the same characters? No, you don't know anything? Okay.
I do not know.
Okay.
I would imagine the answer is yes, but who knows? I purposely did not read any further because, like I said, I didn't want to spoil anything. So
How soon do you think you're going to read the second one?
it depends on how much I get done in the next couple of weeks, because we'll talk about that later.
Okay. So I feel like what's interesting is there was one perspective that I felt most interested in, or that I connected with the most, and like it's just funny because it's all the same person anyway. But I think I was just most interested in what like Cyanite was doing and how her life was going and what was happening in that timeline. I think that's where I don't know if
with
that
Alabaster and
yeah. I don't know if she just had more chapters, because I think there were times where like it didn't switch to a different perspective. It was like 2 Cyanite chapters or something.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
So I don't know if maybe that's why I was like more grounded in that story.
Possibly.
Well, she was closer to happiness than she was in the other two. That's my guess.
That's also true.
Because he had Alabaster, and I can't remember the captain's name. That she was in that was her lover as well.
What is this? Does it start with an I or an E? I never.
INNON, I think.
Inon.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I think maybe the fact that she had like a constant person like Alabaster was there for them to just bounce off each other, whether it was just like being disgruntled at each other or
Right.
I don't know. I think it was both weird and fascinating at the same time, because I was like, wait, do they really dislike each other?
There's a fine line between love and hate. all your hate to love tropes.
Well, that was the thing, because they're apparently, if you're what the hell do they call them, the ringers, they have a breeding program, and you're expected to participate. So that's strike one against them right off there. So, but I think the way it turned out was Alabaster was for her other needs, and then Inan satisfied her physical needs, and which is perfectly fine, So, because it seemed to be that she was more, I don't know, emotionally attached to Alabaster than she was to Inan, but who knows?
I mean, because they've been through stuff. They're like
they have a lot more history. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 I feel like even though the story kind of starts with Isan losing her son, I don't know, I feel like there wasn't enough about that. Like, not much progress was made in regards to that.
So what's the timeline here?
What is the timeline here?
What was the Dea? What was her name?
Isan is her current version. Demaya, then Cyanite.
Demaya was the youngest version, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Demaya was went to the so-called foster system.
Wait. She went to the fulcrum.
Okay, right. That's right, the fulcrum business. And then she got out of the fulcrum and then ended up marrying somebody. And then after that, Alabaster or the
no, in between then Cyanite happened.
Yeah,
no, Cyanite's the middle.
Yeah,
Cyanite's the middle. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then which husband is she looking for?
She's looking for her last husband, Isan's husband, who was the last identity that she took.
Oh, after Alabaster.
Okay. Yeah, the one who killed her son.
This is interesting. But she killed her own. She killed the first son because she thought the fulcrum was going to get him.
Right, and
No, that's her second son. Oh yeah,
it's her first son.
Yeah, that's her first son. Yeah. Sorry.
So I was worried because I knew that it was already revealing that it was the same person. I was like, wait, is this going to end with the fact that she originally killed her son? Which, I mean, I guess she did, but like the sons weren't the same. But I thought that was going to be a twist somewhere.
That's crazy.
And then I kind of wish I had looked up like more about the way she did the perspectives. And I don't know if it was just, to throw people off with the second perspective, or was it supposed to signify like, I don't know, that maybe she didn't know who she was at the time because she was like so overcome by grief in like so many different areas.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but she could be saying that, you're different people at different points in your life. You're still the same person from birth to death, but you really aren't. You know what I mean? That's
interesting perspective, because that's kind of
you're not the same person now as you were, like, say, 12, for example, obviously. But yet you are the same person.
Oh, unless unless that was just to like demonstrate this is the most current, as she was using you, like this is the most current iteration of the person.
Oh, is that what you're talking
Yes.
about? Switching perspectives?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that was I don't actually find that out until much later.
It was like almost in the last chapter, I think, that you find out
who's narrating the book.
Yeah.
Mason's part, anyway. Which is what was the Stone Eater's name? That was with Alabaster. I can't remember.
That with Alabaster?
Yeah.
The one that pulled them to the island at the beginning?
Yeah. And then
what did he called her something?
Did Hoa do that?
No.
Hoa, yes.
Was it Hoa?
I believe so.
Wait,
so
hold
that's
on,
the
hold
same.
on, hold on.
That's the same Death Eater, Stone Eater that was from the beginning, that he called a different name.
Yes, I think so. He said it's just a name. I'll call myself Hoa because that's just the name. So
Yeah. But wait, are you saying that Hoa was the Stone Eater that pulled Alabaster into?
Yes, to save him from the fulcrum. That's the only thing I could
right. Yeah.
And therefore, it also makes sense because that's apparently Alabaster at the beginning who caused this cataclysm.
Right.
And that's Hoa with him.
I'm going to have to reread this whole
book. Because I went back to reread the first chapter and I said, oh, now, because one of the things I was wondering about was like, how do you create such a world involving cataclysm? Nobody's talking about it except for an essence section.
Because they're dead.
I mean? Yeah.
I don't know. But what? Yeah. Are all books out?
Yes.
Yeah, all three of them are.
Mm-hmm. So. I don't have the audiobooks, but I can acquire them.
I have the audiobook.
Yeah.
So, and the ebook. But yeah. So, yeah, that's if you go back and it's like, okay, because like I said, apparently Alabaster is the one who breaks the world. And starts
twice?
Revolution. I thought it was just once. Like right at the beginning of the book.
And then they send him to investigate it? Who? Like, I thought that he was. I'm gonna have to read it again too.
You know what? I know there isn't a ton of similarities, but it's making me, because we're watching the 3-body problem and we also read that, I guess the idea of like there's this age and this age, I don't know, those two things are like
yes, exactly. Yes, you're different in each of the ages. That's the point. But I believe Aeson, I'll use her current name, Cyanite first meets Alabaster when they're sent to Alia to go handle the harbor.
Right. He's supposed to be like a mentor to help her get another
he's
ring.
He's like the 10 ringer, yeah.
Yeah. And then she learns that he's been fostering children that are node runners that are getting mutilated and abused. And
because they come across the one
that
looked like him. The one that they at the abandoned node station.
See, like, that's one of the things that I don't understand. He was having kids with other breeders?
Yes, the fulcrum was forcing him to have kids with other origins over and over again until whatever happened, what was it that the Stone Eater actually confronted him about it. He's like, I know, this person says hi, and they're like, oh, you found them. Like, what did you do with your last partner? Like, what did you do with the last one that disappeared? What happened? So we're finding pieces and pieces that the Alabaster's not really. I think it's fitting that she calls him Baster. through half the book.
Right. Well, also too, I believe that the breeding program, and they'll take what they can get, in the sense that if you're talented like cyanide or alabaster, you are going to the fulcrum. If you're not, we'll take out we'll turn off your higher functions and just make it like an automatic response to quell the quakes, and we'll go send you to another station. Like if you can't control your power.
Right. They figured out that Origins, as a bare minimum, as a default setting, save themselves or save whatever's in the area.
It's instinct. Yeah, it's instinct.
Like they have a sense to keep the Earth from doing whatever it does around them.
I mean, that's essentially what they were saying. That
so they were sedating them and making them completely immobile as just tools.
Well, because that's what their baby was doing, right?
Correct.
Corundum, yeah. But he seemed to be more like a 10-ringer, like Alabaster was. So
I think he said something about all of his kids are at least 10 ringers or better.
Well, the implication's not at all, because if it looks like him, then how did we get to know?
Well, if they are the defiant, or if they're not, if they don't play by the rules, they end up like that anyway.
Yeah, and they essentially lobotomize them and put them in these nodes, and say, "All right, this is your job now. See ya."
And then they let people abuse their bodies.
Right.
So was because like Isan remarried and she had 2 children, was the assumption that if she was having children with someone who wasn't an Origin, that I guess there's like a 50% chance that they would just not have anything, and that was kind of the assumption.
Correct. That was the idea.
Yeah, she had clearly left the fulcrum by then. So by the time she got to that third phase of her life. So.
And was that like just changing her name and her identity and like dropping off the map kind of a thing? Like they were probably still out there searching for her?
Yeah.
Somebody probably.
Somebody still is, because apparently the Guardians are keeping track, and so is Venus. So,
apparently the Stone Eaters play their own politics somehow.
Yes.
So, and they know of what's going on at all times as well for some reason.
Yeah. Well, they can hear through stone, because they actually talk about that in the book.
That they actually use the entire planet as a echo chamber, and they can listen to every conversation. They can focus in wherever they want.
Right.
Yep.
So, like, if Alabaster was a 10, they were saying she was a 4 ring.
Yeah, but she earned a couple rings in there, so
she was
we
proving
don't know
herself.
Her power.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we don't, but I don't know. I guess I think it's interesting that they were like hyping up Alabaster so much, and he's like talking about the obelisks and like doing all this stuff, but yet she's the special one because she's the one that like Hoa reached out to and felt like.
Well, I mean,
that's what Hoa said, that she was special, that they had to. He was like, Stone Eaters don't usually, connect with the humans, but this one's special.
Yeah, because she was the one who was to be able to tap into the obelisks.
And if Alabaster is one to do that as well, and they don't like that he's one of the ones, she was definitely a preferable pick because of her. He's not a very nice person.
Alabaster.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, if they can tell who can actually use the obelisks for any way, shape, or form, they could probably tell that she's definitely a better pick to play with them.
But is it because she was younger and less jaded, or like, are you saying that like Alabaster was actually evil?
I don't think we know the full scope of his personality yet. Because she even said on the way out in the last chapter of the book about him, well, maybe he's not just a goof. Maybe this actually is his crazy.
Well, it's also the kind of thing where, he's been through a lot of stuff. So, if he's crazy, guess what?
He's straight full of trauma.
The fulcrum had at least something to do with it.
But like throughout the whole book, he was telling her like nothing's gonna change. Forget it. Just live a peaceful life. Like he was
trying to tell him not to get involved, not to
right. But
drink
at
the
the end of
Kool-Aid.
the end of the book, it's like he came out. He was like, "Let's fuck shit up." It's what it seemed like he was doing at the end of the book.
Which is what he did in the first chapter. Yeah.
Is that what it was? Just the full circle? Full circle?
Yeah, that's the book was basically, I think, how we got to that point in chapter 1.
So what's he talking about the moon for? Is that what we're talking about in the second book?
Mm-hmm. That second book.
And if they're all like, oh, they have this kind of power, this much power, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I can feel the moon. Like, what the hell? That's a lot of power.
Well, that's like with the obelisk. Like, nobody knew that was a thing until, Cyanide was able to tap into it. So, they, along with the reader, find out, oh, hey, this is now a thing.
So who was trapped in the obelisk?
It was
there was a stone eater in there, and she said that at one point when she tapped into it, she saw him wake up and look at her.
Mm-hmm.
So is that somebody that we were dealing with throughout the whole story that we didn't? Because eventually at the end, like they had the obelisks literally following them, right?
Right.
Like
converging on where they were.
Yeah. And the closer and closer they got to them, the more power they got. So I was just wasn't completely understanding the sequence and the plot behind that, but unless it literally was just that he was drawing them to him so that he can use them to blow something up. I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, she could be like just a natural convergence point. They sense for whatever is about her, they all converge to wherever she is.
Oh, okay. So what was the reason that all the origins were converging on that one little area or that town or city? Because I don't remember that. What the reason that was happening?
There was sending out a pulse.
Oh, somebody was like sending out a
signal. Yeah.
Come to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And everybody's like, I don't know why I'm going this way, but I'm just going.
Yeah.
Huh.
And why were they doing that?
Because they're approaching. And it's like, if you blow a whistle, only dots can hear. You're going to get all dots coming to you. Same thing with the origins. If you blow a whistle, only origins can hear. You'll only get origins. So they're clearly amassing the origins like as some kind of power base. That's what I got out of it.
Oh, was it an attempt to have, or was it like more of this is a safe haven, come hang out with us?
That and to protect themselves, yeah.
Okay.
It's a safe haven for other origins.
Well, because they got there, and then it sounded like the first thing they heard was, give us a baby.
Was that what it was?
I mean,
if that's all that was important is
I don't know, but that's
more
what they
origins
said.
than...
Well, I guess. I mean...
Dude, every single different humans.
And that's why Corundum was important to the community that Enin was part of, because it sounded like they didn't have as many origins. And now they have like, a 10 ringer and a 6 ringer, and now Corundum to carry the load.
And so the Guardian pulled up just because he saw her when they were, because she said she wanted to stop by Alia, was that what you call?
Alia.
Because she left with Inan and she requested to see Alia. And as they were like pulling away, she said that she could see a Guardian.
Yeah, like they came looking for them.
Yeah, implication that's Shafa, but who knows?
Because like they had been living in that place for a few years without being detected.
Right.
So
Yeah, maybe it's the point that they use their powers, I guess, more publicly enough that now they're registered as a threat. So now something has to be done about them.
Oh, is that why the Guardians were hunting them? They were like, "Oh,
Well,
now
yeah,
they're
well, they
too
knew the
powerful."
Guardians were there, but if they knew that like Alabaster and her were in the same place, clearly now they are a threat. And,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah. The ship battle was fun.
Yes.
I'd like to see if they actually option this for a visual media. I'd really like to see that happen because this is a fun one.
Not that it matters, because sometimes it takes a really long time, but like, I'm wondering when this came out. Um, 2015. Oh wait, no, that's something else. Hold on. It says first edition, August 2015. Yeah, I guess.
For all those who have to fight for the respect that everyone else is given without question.
Yep. Yeah, apparently it was a nominee for Best Fantasy in 2015.
Well, it won the Hugo Award for 2016.
Yep, there you go.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting that, just, I don't know, when I see these sorts of things, it's like, well, why is it only Earth? Why not the other element? Why not fire? Why not have, what is it, aeromancy or pyromancy or what's the other one? Not just
water.
Yeah, water. Yeah, hydromancy. Why just geomancy?
But didn't they have like some era or season that had to do with like smoke or fire? I thought, or was that volcanic?
So I think from what it seemed is that they went through different seasons and different years.
Right.
Like it was like a burning hot one year, it was cold winter one year, and I think what you're talking about is when they had like eruptions, like multiple volcanic eruptions, and it was ash fall, so it was just covering the whole planet with ash, and that's kind of a smoke out too. Like it killed that kills civilizations too.
Like a nuclear winter. Yeah. That's what they're talking about. But it's not until the sea battle, where she points out, oh yeah, you can do this over water, but it's a lot harder to do. I said, well,
oh yeah, you have a filter to go through.
Yeah. So.
What was the deal with like the gemstones?
The ones that Ho was eating?
No, she grabbed a hold of something when she killed her son.
Oh,
it was something that Alabaster had told her to stay away from because it was dangerous, or because.
Or unless it was using the stones as in like an obelisk, using the obelisk for power to do something. But I don't know what about what gemstones it might be. I don't recall that.
Yeah, when in the description, when I recall the description, was after the boat sank. It describes a cyanide with corundum, and corundum was turned face down to the water. So the implication is that if he wasn't face down to begin with, she turned him face down, so that better to live free than die a slave.
Right.
Right. But there was, I don't know, I guess the way I was envisioning it was that she had run back, like after Alabaster got taken by the Stone Eater, that she had run back to wherever they were like sleeping, because that's where her son was.
I know the son was with her on ship. Because remember, and she had that argument about it. You take it. No, you take it. You know, but yeah, he was on board. That's how he ended up in the sea.
Okay. And so, what happened to Inon?
Oh, he got killed by what sounded like, what the hell did they call it? It's an interesting description. It's like, you know how you have Force and Sith? It sounded like the Sith version of an origin.
So
yeah.
One of the Guardians grabbed him,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. They tore him apart from the inside out. It was basically the idea is the Guardians have the ability to touch an origin and make them unravel.
Yeah.
Like basically they use their power against their own body and melts. I don't know.
Well, they're dead.
Apparently it seems very, very violent.
Yes.
Oh, look, it was an amethyst. It says, so she reaches out, the amethyst is there above, waiting with the patience of the dead, as if it somehow knew this moment would come.
The amethyst obelisk.
Okay.
Yes.
They were all named different stone gem types.
Probably what the stones that were in there, I guess.
Say what?
Probably because they had those gemstones in them, maybe? I don't know. They don't ever mention that.
They were all different color too, weren't they?
I guess. I don't know.
Or maybe that was the description they were given, is by what color they were, is what gemstone they were named after.
I guess I don't know what an obelisk is. Not the word and not its significance in the story. Like, what is it?
My ridiculous definition is that it's like a tower that converges to a point, not a pyramid. Pyramids like
right, yeah, and like the most known obelisk that I can point out is the Washington Monument, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's literally it's usually a man-made totem or item for any sort of significance, but it's usually tall and
look up.
Wouldn't each stone in the come on, what's it called? The circle of stones. What is it called?
The circles.
Yes, it wouldn't each one of those be considered obelisks?
No, because
each one because it doesn't stand alone.
It doesn't stand to a point, right?
The circle of stones in Outlander is what I'm talking about. Those are obelisks.
No, they're still like Stonehenge. They're not.
No.
Look up Egyptian obelisks on Google that.
So
look at the images.
But so is it the idea is that all these obelisks are from previous civilization?
Yes, and the implication is that the Fulcrum made them, because remember that was that huge opening.
So in a very talented and or very powerful origin would have to have been involved in willing that into existence, right? The idea would be right, unless stone eaters can do it too,
right?
But they move through stone; they don't manipulate it, right?
Right. They move through stone as we move through air. That's what I gathered.
Right. That's crazy.
I don't understand how that's not one of the things in here.
What?
Like
she
word defines obelisk? Yeah. She defines so many other things. She defines rings. She defines.
Well, look up
Egyptian obelisks.
Well, no. Like see what kind of what else were they called in the book, or was that it? They were just obelisks.
That was it.
Yeah, because I'm looking to see if it's referred to as anything else, but no, there's.
You can look it up over there.
Yeah. Let's see. I can spell it in obelisk.
Like Justin, the Washington Monument's a perfect example too. It's an obelisk.
tall, four-sided, narrow, tapering monument.
Yeah.
Which ends in a pyramid-like shape or pyramidion
Yeah.
at the top.
So they're all shaped like that, typically having a square rectangular cross section. Okay. Usually a monument or a landmark.
Yeah, I keep mentioning the Egyptians because they had writing on it, and I assume that's what these obelisks are. They had some kind of writing on it,
like with runes or something.
Yeah, runes or something. Yeah.
Well, that's confusing. Only because, like, I know the second book is named like the Obelisk Gate or something like that, and it's not a picture of that. I don't know.
I imagine very, I don't know, very wide crystalline structures as the obelisks that they're talking about. I don't know. But if they taper to a point, then what are they doing?
Read the next book to find out.
Hold on. Ancient Egyptians further believed that the obelisk could guide the souls of the dead to the afterlife. Its shape, symbolism, and use made it a powerful symbol of the strength of the Egyptians' faith and the power of the sun god Ra.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, let's point an arrow to the sky because that's where you're supposed to go?
Ra was an ancient deity worshipped as the primary god of the sun, order, and creation.
This from the same civilization that came up with pyramids. So keep that in mind. They're essentially pyramids, like.
Interesting.
Or was there a reason why we needed to put spikes all over the earth?
Well, it could be in the way they fit together if they're forming a gate. Who knows?
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, if you bring them all together, if they taper if they taper in like that, you could like slices of a pie. You bring them all together and they'll form a circle.
Right. Yeah, do we gotta worry about ancient civilizations tech being a problem now?
I mean, who knows?
Well, it's like a thing where, with the Roman roads are still around. People still use them. But I thought it was interesting in the book where in the crystal caves, I'll call them, that, we don't know how it works. Yeah, we just know that it does.
Right.
It's like, well, what if it breaks down?
Until that happens, we're good.
That happen,
we don't try to think about that. We just keep going.
Yeah. Or how did the Egyptians build the pyramids? Some people say aliens, other people say no. So
they learned the math, and then used labor of slaves.
Just like this civilization, using labor of slaves. But I think you can easily see how the other people, like the not origins, would become fearful of the origins, and once you fear something, you hate it. And then you're a subhuman now, so we can do what we want to you. And I think it's just you immediately see it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they also have the equivalent of their N word is the R word.
Right.
So, yeah, it also did a good idea, like cyanide, how imprinted you are with that social structure in mind. Being trained at the fulcrum, you're taught to think a certain way. And they said, well, it doesn't have to be that way, There are other ways, and clearly Alabaster took advantage of that because he enlisted a lot of the Node Runners to help him when he decided to break the world. So.
I felt like Cyanide spent the majority of the book being like, this is not right, this is not right. Just like...
I think we're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, especially...
That's got to be where it starts.
The
heroes would be like, yo, we got to do something about this.
And also, too, it's just interesting how she developed, like, as Demaya. She was always, like, eager to please and, she believed in what she was being told because she had nowhere else to go essentially. And then as cyanide, she discovers, hey, this isn't quite right, and and this Asen now, she really believes that she's not part of the establishment at all. Whether she's to the point of rebelling, who knows? Because she certainly participated in the ship battle. So.
Right, but she struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Again, I guess I keep thinking about the 3-body problem because there was that part where what's her face with her nanotechnology.
Oh, cut the ship.
Yeah. And was didn't want to be a part of that.
Correct. But weren't they guardian ships? Are you talking about the ship battle? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah. Well, they had guardians on them.
Right, but not everybody on the ship had to die, but the guardians had to be stopped.
Yeah, the guardians were the targets. I mean, the others were quote unquote collateral damage.
But I thought they left to just go pirate shit. Unless I misread that entire scene.
I guess that's what they were doing, but the guardians came on to attack when that happened. But yeah, they were taking merchant ships and doing things like that.
Yes,
they were pirating.
Yes, oh yeah, they were, for a while. And I guess it was just oh yeah, it's the pirates, we'll just have to live with it. But once Alabaster and Cyanide got there, now it's a problem. And it has to be dealt with.
Were there any favorite characters for you?
Didn't actually think about that.
Anybody that you hope
I wanted to like Alabaster, but
learn more about in the second book.
I guess for me, it's just find out what actually happened, what came out of it, what is he talking about. So yeah, but I'm not saying I want. I guess I would like to get to a little bit more about what Alabaster's doing, but not if he's ends up being the bad guy.
Well, that goes back to the myth about Shemshana and Missalem. Because remember the way it's put in the tradition is that for whatever reason Missalem decides I'm going to destroy you, and it's just out of the blue, when it's actually a case of revenge. It's the actual story.
Oh, so he's still upset that she killed Corundum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
maybe more about their children. Find out what happens to them. But I want to see what did he? If you say he blow up the world, what did he do? What the Fulcrum do? What's left of the Fulcrum? What happened? But yeah, I'm curious. I'd like to read more into it. I don't know about which character I'd like to know more about. They all started dying.
I think for me, I think Shafa, when he was introduced, was oh, thank God she's going to get away from this abusive family, and then it's oh no, he's 10 times worse. So yeah, I mean, we see the main character, as she is through various points in her life. So, is it possible to like one more than the other? I don't know. It's hard to say because each of them has its good points and its bad points. So, and Alabaster, I think, is complicated enough that, again, there's no easy answer. But, on the plus side, there's this, but on the minus side,
I guess I'm interested in learning more about the Stone Eaters, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same.
because it seemed like they were there and they were present, but like, I don't
So
know. It's just a really complex world.
there's my answer. Hoa. I want to learn more about that character. Find out what the heck he's up to, or they're up to.
They are up to. But so there's something else I was going to say, but I can't think of what it was now. What about you, Desiree? Any favorite characters?
When I thought Inon was kind of interesting, it's unfortunate what happened to him.
Yes.
So it's kind of sad that he won't be in the next book. But I'm just like super, super curious why Cyanite is so special, or more special than Alabaster.
I think to Jemisin's credit, you don't find out she's the chosen one until much later in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty much at the end.
Yes. And even then, it's not totally obvious as to why.
Right.
And we have 2 other books to find out.
Are they all as long? Are they the other ones longer?
I'm not sure. To be absolutely honest.
The obelisk. Cute.
That I do not know.
Alright, so the Obelisk Gate is 448 pages. So, like, this is the cover of the second book, John. And so I guess, I don't know. This image is what I was thinking of, which is obviously not that.
An obelisk?
Yeah, which is not that pyramid-y looking thing.
I don't know what to call that. It's not a crest. It's not a.
This is book 3.
What do you call something carved in stone that's just round and decorative? That looks like an archway.
Yeah.
And a keystone holds an arch together. A stone sky.
So the third one is the shortest one. Okay, but don't read that because spoilers. Do we have final thoughts?
Well, I was glad to read one of her long-form books. And, like I said, I will likely be continuing on with the series. Excuse me.
I'm excited too.
Is a month too long for you to wait to jump into the...
No.
Okay.
I did it right.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, if you wanted to, like, pick it for your next turn, I just wasn't sure if that was too big of a... Yeah, just read the trilogy.
I mean, that would make sense. So, yeah, we could just do that.
I'm okay with that. As long as a month is not too long for you to, like, forget what happened or...
No. Apparently, I can remember some of the details at least. Like, because I finished the book like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that was like reading a chapter a day. So...
I like it. I like fantasy, sci-fi things. I very much like fantasy, so I go to 4 stars. Is that what we're doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's
what we're doing.
If that's what you give it 4 stars. You said.
Yeah.
And then you do want to continue, yes.
I absolutely would like to read more, yes.
Okay. I think I'd probably also do it 4 stars. And I might, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to like reread the entire book right now, but like I might look up some like chapter summaries or something.
Okay. Let me
To
know what
just
interesting tidbits you find.
Get a better grasp on things that happen.
Well, if Jemisin is the author, I think she is, she will help the reader along Like, because so you have to future proof it in the sense that, okay, there's people who read the first book a while ago.
A while ago,
And they don't want to read the whole thing, but you have to accommodate them. Oh, hey, remember this? But do it in a way that integrates it into the story well.
So, what did you give it, Tom?
4 stars.
All right. Oh, so we're all on board.
The other 2 works I mentioned, Far Sector and Emergency Skin, are 5 stars. So I have high hopes, but we'll see.
So for the month of June, we are going to be reading a nonfiction book called Trippy, The Peril and Promise of Medicinal Psychedelics by Ernesto Lodoño. And this released just recently on May 7th of this year. And I'm just super intrigued and really interested in this. And it's also written by a person of Latinx heritage. And I believe he also has a husband. So for Pride Month.
He narrates the book as well.
Oh, awesome.
The audiobook.
I haven't started the audiobook yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I know we don't normally read nonfiction, but I feel like this is going to be pretty interesting. We have read some memoirish stuff in the past, so I'm looking forward to it. Once again, if you haven't read the 5th season, go ahead and read that. Come back, listen to our discussion. If you're still here and you did read it and you've been listening to us chat, thank you. And I hope that you guys will join us next month. And once again, if you ever want to be on camera with us during our discussions, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member at patreon.com/Libri Labra. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next month. So
bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.